Shortly after delivering a patient to an understaffed hospital, a police officer experiences strange and violent occurrences seemingly linked to a group of mysterious hooded figures. Welcome back to Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be talking about The Void, directed by Jeremy Gillespie and Steven Kostanski.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. I am your host, Colin Duncan. You know the other host. Why don't you say hello, Zoheb?
Hey guys.
Hey, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining us. I know it's actually been a while since we put out an episode with the two of us on it. Yeah, I know you and Matt did like some solo stuff in Deadpool, which is really cool to listen to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a hectic week for both of us. Really had a lot of stuff going on outside the podcast and work and school and everything. And it's been, I mean, just at my work, we had 4 people quit in the last 6 days. And it's like, dude, like and if you ever work in a restaurant, you know that's detrimental to like what you do. But either way, it's neither here nor there. How are you doing tonight, Zoheb?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's obviously not tonight here. I just woke up, so, you know, I'm still wiping the sleep from my eyes. But yeah, man, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. I'm finally I'm happy to be back in the saddle again.
Oh yeah. I got sick of Matt. I'm kidding, Matt.
That's fucked up.
Love you, mate. Love you.
I love Vela. But yeah, I'm definitely happy to be back in the saddle again. You know, it's been, I mean, we haven't done anything with you and I since like Shaun of the Dead, and it just feels when you're doing as much content as we have been doing, and you know, talking to each other every day, it was like very weird to kind of like almost not even take a break. You know, it's just a couple of weeks, but it still feels like
coming to like a hard stop.
Yeah, right, exactly. And but yeah, either way, I know we're both happy to be back. You know, back together again. But we're going to be talking about I believe it's 2016 or 2017's The Void. It's directed by Jeremy Gillespie and Steven Kostanski, and written by them as well. This is definitely one that flew under the radar. If you're a fan of 80s horror, it's definitely right up your alley. John Carpenter's The Thing, or even Evil Dead, or Prince of Darkness, and stuff like that. But it is... It's its own movie without like constantly being referred to as a throwback, but it definitely found its niche in like this kind of nostalgia that we're feeling for a lot of stuff right now with like Stranger Things and a lot of shows that are capitalizing on like 80s kind of things. Like, and this isn't set in the 80s or anything like that, but it feels so much like 80s horror, you know, like Hellraiser and stuff like that. It feels so much like that 80s kind of horror that it's impossible to like ignore. And I think that's really cool. I'm a big horror fan. Had 2 older brothers growing up, so I always watched older horror movies, stuff I should not have been watching when I was like 5, 6, 7, and 8. You know, way too young to be watching stuff. But yeah, I saw the trailer for this when it first came out, and it just looked incredible. I was just blown away by it. It was so and it's very hard for me. You know me; it's hard for me to get like excited about new movies. It really is. You know, I end up I get stuck in my own kind of bubble with things. I'm like, oh, let's watch Shawshank again.
I had to basically put a gun to your head to go see Avengers.
Yeah, well, yeah, halfway. I was like, dude, I gotta see that movie. There's no way. Like, you've got to go see that. I saw the trailer for it. It made me really excited. The use of practical effects versus digital, you know, the smaller budget aspect of it. This is definitely an indie kind of film, not really going outside of, you know, the major studios. Canadian made movie as well. So I was like, okay, this is actually going to be really cool. And I remember telling a lot of people at work about it. Nobody I know has seen it. I think I basically forced you to watch it for the podcast.
Yeah. That's all right. We'll get to that.
But yeah, I'm very excited to be covering this. This is definitely one of my personal favorite like horror movies as of recently. It's definitely shot up on the list just because I haven't seen, I haven't really seen any horror that's been this good in my opinion. Like, there's definitely good horror movies that don't deal with this kind of subject matter, but anything that deals with this kind of just like, I think I'm trying to remember. I can't remember who actually what the quote who the quote is from, but one of the reviews of this movie, which literally just pure cosmic dread. It's such cosmic dread, in the mouth of madness, H.P. Lovecraft kind of stuff, and that's just I love that kind of stuff, the Cthulhu monster and all that jazz, but either way, yeah, I'm really excited to get into this. What are your opening thoughts? What do you think about this? How you feeling?
Yeah, it's alright.
I thought you'd say that.
No, look, I think from the outset, let's just kind of put it out on Front Street. We tried recording this podcast a couple of weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we ran into some technical hiccups, and we had to scrap the episode. So, um, that's the first time I saw this movie, and that's the only time I saw this movie. So we're gonna. It's basically just a little heads up for you guys. Anyone who prefers Colin as your host for Midnight Double Feature, you're in luck, because I am going to be just the weirdest wingman here. I'm just gonna be quiet in the corner. But no, man, I'll try and contribute where I can. But it was okay. Look, I know. I think to put it nicely, I think differing opinions is a good thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. It'd suck if we were just jerking each other off the whole time,
Yeah, exactly. But look, I mean, I do see why you like it. I do see the merit. If I watch a movie and I'm not particularly high on it, I can still see the qualities of it that other people like. Like it's not like I'm
Yeah,
completely shut off to it. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But this movie in particular, I think there's a it's fair to compare this to The Thing, right? John Carpenter's The Thing,
God, yes.
um, because I mean when you've got a location such as this and effects such as this, then the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh my god, it's like The Thing. But the difference is, for me at least, I think the difference between this and The Thing is sort of compelling characters. Uh, I didn't find the characters in this particularly compelling. Like, I mean, to
Hmm.
me there wasn't anyone as watchable as Kurt Russell's character. I'm forgetting his name, McCready, I believe.
Yeah, McCready. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, but dude, when it comes to the effects, especially the practical shit, holy fucking shit! I made the mistake of eating while I was watching this movie. Don't let that happen, guys. Don't just putting it right out there. Don't eat when you're watching this, because
Yeah. Do not consume food around this film.
yeah, because
Like a
you'll
warning label.
soon, yeah, you'll be vomiting in your fucking plate there. No, I'm kidding. That's not what happened to me. But yeah, man, it was okay. I don't know. Look, I'm not um I'm not a horror movie aficionado. When you give me a whole bunch of genres, the horror is not one of my favorites. It's up there. It's good. I love horror. I mean, as a I think they're just kind of like throwaway movies. I know, like, I know how that sounds, but I don't know. I'd prefer a drama, or an action flick, or a sci-fi flick. I mean, this is definitely sci-fi. Don't
Oh
get me
yeah.
wrong, but I think it's horror first and foremost. And I don't know. I didn't, I didn't. By the end of it, look, I was definitely psyched from the beginning. Like, the way the movie pulls you in from the tone. We'll talk about that, but it pulled you in really well, and like it asked some really cool questions at the start. But by the time we get into it, I was just like, this thing's still going.
I know what you mean. Yeah, for something that's in one location and doesn't really have a lot of cast to it, and doesn't you can tell that it has a limited budget. There definitely does. Like you said, you can look at it and not really love the movie, but still see what's good about it. But I can, as much as I love this movie, try and see the problems with it. Like, there does hit a point where it's like, okay, dude, like, how many different levels are in this fucking Rubik's Cube of this movie? Like, and I think that's
look,
a totally honest critique.
sometimes that works for a movie. Like, I mean, layers upon layers, definitely works for a movie like Inception, right? Like, that movie just keeps going. But I mean, for me, this lost some steam. And like, I don't think it necessarily picked it up again. Um, but yeah, man. Look, but I mean, this movie was crowdfunded, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I definitely love that kind of aspect where you got a couple new filmmakers out there who are trying to launch a project, and they need a bit of cash, so they hit up Kickstarter, and the community helps them out. So I definitely love that idea, and I know everyone knows it's not easy to break into Hollywood and make a movie like this, so I definitely appreciate that aspect of it, and it's awesome, man. Like, I definitely applaud that.
right. I think I totally see what you mean, and like, it loses steam towards the end because in the middle we're set up with the mystery, and I think this is a problem a lot of movies and a lot of books have, is it's really really easy to set up a good mystery, but it is way harder to like plausibly explain it and make me feel like this. Is why a lot of the final confrontations in movies where there's a twist, where you learn something, a lot of those don't work, and it's because we're setting up a mystery, and we're setting up why these events have unfolded. Kind of like actually we just went and saw Upgrade, and I'm not gonna spoil that or say anything about that here. But there's there's elements to, even in that movie, and Sixth Sense or anything kind of like M. Night Shyamalan has done. A lot of movies kind of have that twist, but it's very hard to explain. When you're doing these and you set the mystery up in the beginning, it's really hard to kind of try and bring this around to a point where it seems reasonable and like logical, and that it could absolutely that it could actually happen. It's a lot easier to set up a really cool scene and be like, who are these guys, and what is that triangle on the door, and who's this girl, and blah blah blah. It's so easy to ask those questions, but it's much harder to answer them.
Right, exactly.
Especially as the movie goes on.
I think it suffers from what Lost suffered.
Yeah,
did you ever watch
yeah.
Lost?
No, I did not watch, but
Yeah.
I had a friend that was obsessed with that show, and I know like what happens in the show and all that stuff.
Yeah, so essentially you're asking too many questions, and by the end of it, you just don't have enough time, or you just don't have the ability to accurately or satisfyingly explain the questions, or answer the questions. And look, I'm not saying that all of the questions have to be answered in film. They don't. I mean, the best things are often left unsaid. Like, again, let me bring up Inception. Like, you've seen the end of that movie where the top keeps spinning. Like, I like ambiguity. Ambiguity.
Ambiguity.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. Like I said, I just woke up, so. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it does suffer from what Lost suffered from, and in this, it's just like, oh, let's just blame it on fucking hell or whatever the fuck, different dimension.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like whatever this great abscess or whatever this is,
Yeah.
We don't go into explaining it, but I think they do a good job of explaining. We don't really need to know what the void is, but it does lose steam, but it loses steam after they start to explain how these guys came to be there, why these people have been, like, not so much selected, but why they're there, and why the hooded figures are there, the horns that we're hearing, the creatures that are happening. Like, we actually do get a good explanation for why that's happening. But
no,
we don't
I do
really
dig that, yeah.
we get no explanation behind the void, and that to me is way more terrifying. I think like what you said, it's great. It's
absolutely.
It's something you can't even wrap your brain around. It's nothingness and like everything at the same time. And it's I think in the movie he even says there are things that are older than God, and much more powerful. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's kind of interesting. Like, you never really think about it being like more than one multiple deities or whatever this thing is. It lets you chase your tail around, and I think that's great. And I've definitely done that with this movie a lot. And just, okay, what if it's this and what if it's that and blah blah blah, and have your own theories. It lets you kind of do it yourself, and I think that's great. Too many movies want to hold your hand and kind of make you think about this in a certain way, and it's like I love movies that just leave that up to you. But yeah, with that being said, are you ready to jump into this?
Yeah, man. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, yeah, like I said earlier, right away we're setting up the mystery of this right off the bat. We've got, we see feet. We see obviously a dead body on the floor. We see these feet. We've got this great shot pulling up to the door and seeing this triangle on the door. Immediately 2 questions in the first shot: who the fuck is that on the floor, and what the fuck is that on the door? Like there's like so many. Yeah. Right off the bat, you're like, what the hell is going on here? But yeah, we see our boy. I'm trying to remember exactly what his name is.
I believe. Well, there's the James. Father. The father's never named. So
right, it's just father and son, and then James, I believe, is the one that they're actually chasing.
Yeah. One thing I don't want to go past here, man. The music. We get hit with the music right away. The way it just, it helps the tone of the flick. It's just so good, man. It's like this really deep score, and it just adds to it so much.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's something that you can have somewhat of a bad movie, but if you have bad audio, it's just there's no escaping that. It makes it tenfold worse. But yeah, and right away we've got this character is kind of a little bit of a revelation later on, but I mean we don't really know any other names to call them except for father and son. That's literally all they're called in the film. And I don't. Yeah, they're never addressed by name or anything, but they're chasing the character that we come to know as James, played by Evan Stern, chasing him right out of the house. And I mean, it just again, I love scenes like this where you're thrown right into the middle of the action. It's fucking great. I love that. But yeah, we're seeing him chased out of the house, and just that that young girl running behind him, and he takes that 1 second to look back, and boom, they just fucking gun her down. It's like, all right, I'm out. He just ditches her ass and is like, bye. But yeah, just brutal. How we're 60 seconds into this movie, we've already got a murder like right on our hands. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, like, so we've got these characters, father and son. Son, I don't think he has one line of dialogue the entire movie. Something's happened to his throat or something. He's like had a vocal cord cut, or he's been stabbed at some point. But yeah, they gun this girl down running out of the house, go and turn the headlights on. Real kind of Evil Dead kind of feel to me, the front of that car, and you seeing this, like, it just reminded me of Evil Dead being out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so they gun this girl down. James takes off running into the field. They pour gasoline all over her and
light that bitch up.
Right, yeah. The dad throws a cigarette in, the classic horror movie trope or any movie trope,
action movie trope, yeah.
Yeah, God, yes. I mean, it's that is in everything, and totally not possible. I love Mythbusters. It busted the shit out of that a long time ago, and it's like, dude, there's no way.
It looks cool. It looks cool.
Yeah, it's pretty badass, and of course, everybody says one really cool line beforehand. And the guy, the father in this, he won't get too far, and that's all he says.
Yeah, and they walk away without looking.
Yeah, right. At least the dad does. The son is like, he keeps looking back and checking, and that's just, I think that's great to see them.
His cool meter is just down because he's not looking. I mean, sorry, if he's looking, then his coolness level, nah, it's gone. It's dead.
Right. I think it's great. I think it really shows where the characters are at too later on, what we find out about them. For sure. But yeah, as they drive off, we get a great shot of the taillights, and then our first look at the hooded figures, I guess kind of like the disciples of the Void, if you want to call them that. But just that, really, again, so many questions. Why are they chasing him? Who is this girl that they've shot? What is going on? What's with the hooded figure? It's so many questions. But again, we'll get into all of that. But yeah, I love this kind of, and I love the credits too. I don't know why. It's just
I love the music over it. It's really. Oh god, I don't know. For me, the music in this really stood out as well. If you haven't noticed, because it's the second time I brought it up, but yeah, I thought it was awesome, dude.
Yeah, it definitely fits the tone of everything well. but we get our first cut to Agent Carter.
Agent Carter.
We get our first look at Officer Carter. Daniel Carter, played
Carter.
Daniel Carter, played by Aaron Poole. Officer Carter's just doing a bit of a midnight shift, just kind of I assuming he had a speed trap, just out in the middle of nowhere. Never really says where this movie is set either. I know they filmed it in Canada, but I guess it's not. I guess it's not really important. But yeah, you can obviously tell it's a small town, not a lot's going on. The first thing the dispatcher says to him is, "Hey, still awake?" Yeah, it's like there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
And the last thing that this guy expects is the next few hours that are gonna be ahead of him. I now watching it back again, it's like, oh god, that's crazy to think about. Oh yeah, it's just a dead night, nothing's going on. It's like, God, you're about to see some shit you'll never fucking see again.
Sure.
But yeah, I love, just nothing going on, and boom, our character James just pops out. It looks like I got some kind of
stumbling out of the
teenager.
dark.
Yeah, right. And of course, as he walks up on him, he's yelling for him, "Hey, buddy, it can be a little cold crawling all the way home," and walks over to him and sees him, sees him with the blood on him, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" Like, obviously, this is not. This is definitely not what I thought it was. But yeah, I love, basically, it's the best way to describe this is, what's happened is there are two hospitals that are closest to them. He's trying to take James to the hospital. Closest emergency services is still Marsh County. There's been some kind of fire there. They're supposed to be moving, but they're still listed on duty. But I believe this is the last night that the hospital that our events are going to take place in. This is the last night that they're open. He asked about one other hospital. They say it's Lakeland, but it's 20 minutes away. So obviously, that's just crazy to think about. If he'd have just gone to Lakeland, it never would have happened. Like, that blows my mind to see, like, I always think about that. Like, God, you were just like one right or left or black or white or day or night. You were one decision away from being out of this thing completely. But yeah, basically.
And I guess that's how it goes sometimes, man. That's life, like,
yeah,
make one decision. No, it's like fucking butterfly effect. Yeah, I know. Life sucks, right?
No, absolutely, dude. I mean, the smallest thing, But so yeah, Officer Carter decides to take James to Marsh County, and he brings him in. There's very, very few people on staff. I'm just gonna give a quick rundown. We've got Allison, who we find out later is actually Daniel's wife. We've got Kim, played by Ellen Wong. She's kind of an intern. Actually, she's Knives from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I didn't know that.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I thought she looked familiar, man.
Yeah, I thought so too. And then I was like, but that was like 10 years ago. She looks like a 14-year-old in Scott Pilgrim. She's so much older now. But yeah, we've got Daniel, who's married to Allison. She happens to be a nurse who works at the same hospital. Coincidence. But we've also got Beverly, who's a nurse. She's also a nurse on staff. We've got Dr. Richard Powell. He's the only doctor on the premises. And I believe there's one more. I can't even remember the character's name. He's got like two scenes, but just a young man who's there in the hospital. I cannot remember what his name is for the life of me. But either way, there's very, very few people here, 5, 6, 7 tops. But yeah, as soon as Officer Carter ends up bringing this guy in, they right away, she's like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, didn't dispatch call ahead? No, dispatch didn't call ahead. And you can tell there's some kind of, I don't know, this is definitely a small town. The feeling of like just kind of fuck it. It seems like this is how your police and your hospitals run. Like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I love, as soon as he brings him in, they put him on that stretcher, and the other nurse, Beverly, she's like, what's wrong with him, Danny? He's like, he's bleeding, Bev. Like, I think that's great. He's really, really good at being sarcastic and being a fucking smartass. He's really good, man. This guy, Aaron Poole, he's on my radar now. I definitely want to see him in more stuff. I would like to see him in a few more things. Yeah, they said they're going to take care of him. We got to get him down to Dr. Powell. And they wind up kind of wheeling him off, but we can tell that this is yeah. Oh, and sorry, we got 2 more people in the hospital as well. I totally skipped. I totally skipped over. I totally skipped over them, but we have Ben, who's I'm not sure if he is. I believe her name's Maggie. There's Maggie and Ben. Maggie is I guess
Yeah,
a
it's
daughter
Maggie.
or a daughter or a granddaughter, and then we've got Ben, who's her grandfather or father, and she's there having a baby. So again, stakes just went up like 10 jumps.
Of course, she's having a baby right now.
Right, of course she's fucking having a baby. Um, but yeah, I think that I think that it's great that we've got it's got a kind of Reservoir Dogs feel. It's a real small location,
Yeah.
but we've got a lot of great ones. But yeah, I love, we're getting set up to these characters. We see Ellen Wong, Kim with her patient, and he's just totally ignoring her. We've got Ben and his granddaughter or daughter there, Maggie, and we're just kind of getting our first kind of setup. And then we're introduced to Dr. Powell, who's standing over James, trying to...
Dr. Richard Powell, played by Kenneth Walsh, who will turn out to be fucking Freakazoid.
Yeah, right? Like, holy shit, turned out to be fucking Hellraiser.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's we don't, James has a very visceral reaction to seeing Dr. Powell, and we don't really know why, but that's revealed to us later. But Dr. Powell's like, we've sedated him, he'll be fine. We're just trying to, trying to help him relax and figure out what's going on. They roll his sleeves up and they see all the needle marks in James where he's been shooting up. And I love, she's like, where did you find this guy? And the cop's reaction, Carter's like, oh, he fucking bled on me. Like, I love that part. That is cracking me up. Every single time. The little bit of comedic relief that's in this is actually quite good. And it's not terrible.
I dig it.
Yeah. But yeah, we get a bit of a scene between Allison and Daniel. It's good to see you and blah blah blah. You can tell they're somewhat estranged. I didn't know that they were married right away. I just figured that they had recently broken up or something. But yeah, we get a little bit of a backstory. There's not too much exposition in this movie, but there's enough to fill in the gaps of what's going on, and I think that's great. And we get this, and we get a little bit of it here with this. With this scene with Dr. Powell, he's just telling him what's going on with James. He's out of it a little bit, but you can talk to him. But you should be gentle with Allison. She's still coming to terms with what happened. You're like, okay, like right away, like what's going on? And as you know, Daniel, there's nothing worse than losing a child. So boom, right there we see that, that Daniel and Allison were married or still are married, but she had a miscarriage and just awful thing to happen. But then Dr. Powell also relates. He's like, I lost my daughter Sarah, and I just almost lost myself, and really. I disagree with what you say about this versus The Thing in terms of characters, because like I already know so much about these characters, way more than I know about the guys from The Thing, like way more, like their motivations, why they're doing what it is that they do. Now I like them more as characters. They're just fucking cool, like I love, who doesn't like Kurt Russell, and fucking Keith David, like, oh my god, the 2 Last Man Standing at the end of that. It's a great movie, and it doesn't have nearly quite the
character development.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I don't know. I think for me, it was more about their actions in The Thing. Than this. I mean, we get this backstory about the children that they've lost, and it's definitely builds character development. Definitely builds character. Mm-hmm. But I like to see. For me, a big thing is character development through actions. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, let's talk about Shaun of the Dead for a sec. I mean, we see Shaun grow throughout the movie, and like pretty much go through a 180 through actions. I don't like. I definitely see what you mean about the character development in this. It's good. It's just I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
It's not very insightful, but yeah.
Right. It's like I get what you're picking up on though. I as much as I like this movie, we still don't know a lot of motivations of the other characters. We're only talking about 2 characters out of the 8 that we have in here. We don't know anything about Ben or Maggie or well, no, we're talking about 3 of them, I guess. Really, Daniel, Allison, and Dr. Powell. But there's really there's really not a lot going on with the other characters, and I can see why. I think there's a better dynamic. I think what I'm picking up on what you're saying is there's a better dynamic in the thing. But this, the characters, maybe their motivations are stated a little bit, not even motivations really. In the thing, the whole motivation is just fucking stay alive, and eventually that becomes somewhat of the motivation of this because nothing else matters by the end of it. Just trying to get the fuck out of there and trying to stay alive. But either way, moving on. We've got that great scene between Powell and Officer Carter and Cliff. Cliff is the young man's name. The other guy who's in here who only has about 2 scenes.
Cliff.
His first scene is Cliff.
What an American
this
name.
Guy's a fucking asshole. No, I'm just kidding.
So American.
So American. My name's Tom Smith. But yeah, right away, another brutal scene of the other nurse, Beverly, who we're introduced to at the beginning of it. And just Officer Carter just kind of walks in. He's like, Bev, like, are you okay? And she's just pushing a fucking scalpel through there's a pair of scissors, like, through Cliff's eye. I was like, holy shit. And, like, such a slow pull out of that eye socket. And I was like, holy hell. But yeah, she turns around and has cut all of the skin off of her face and has murdered this patient here.
Yeah, that's some rough shit.
Yeah, and all she says is this, this isn't my face, and she still just keeps cutting the skin off. It's like, holy shit. But we'll figure out a little bit of things that are going on later of why these characters are doing these things and what drove her to do this. Like, because that's kind of an interesting. It's like, what the fuck drove her to do this? Like, I never really understood it, even until later. I kind of had to have some things explained to me, but we'll get into that. She murders.
I
Cliff.
still don't explain it. I still don't understand it.
Well, basically, from what I've heard, that Dr. Powell is making these people, if you want to become a part of this and you want to become one of these things and live forever, he basically gets inside their heads the same way he kind of gets inside a lot of their heads, right, and has them to become one of these things and to become a servant and live forever. You have to kill someone for Powell, and then at the end of it, you have to be killed in some way to come back. That's basically from what I understand. There's, I believe the gentleman's name is Found Films on YouTube, but I mean, he's got everything, so many good videos, really, really great. But I believe that basically you have to have murdered somebody for this, basically Dr. Powell, and then it comes back when he kills you, or when someone else kills you, you'll come back as one of these fucking monsters. But either way, that's the few interpretations that I've heard. Obviously, again, this is a movie that lets you make your own thing. I personally believe in that interpretation because I just think it makes sense. It's good. And it's just good plot. But yeah, Beverly, the nurse, just charges right at Carter, and of course, got to put it down. Yeah, got to, man, you fucking got to.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, it's just insane. The 2 nurses, Allison and Kim, run up, and I mean, God, imagine running up on that scene. One of your only patients in the hospital with one of his eyes cut out, and the nurse skinning her face and shot to death. Like, yeah, what in the figgity fuck, man? Like, Jesus Christ,
what just happened?
Right. What the actual fuck? But yeah, it's Aaron, the Officer Carter. Obviously, I don't know if this is his first time shooting somebody or if it's just been a long time or what, but he does not have a good reaction to this.
He's definitely shaken, not stirred, right? Like, he's very like, what the fuck?
Right. I would love to. I wouldn't mind seeing some scenes of him maybe having accidentally shot someone before, somebody who was unarmed or something like.
See, I wasn't sure if he was reacting to, like, the way, like, how he's shocked and stuff. I'm not too sure if he's sort of shocked because of the woman that, just tried to cut her face off, or whether he shot her. So, right. Yeah, maybe it's a bit of both. Yeah, that's reasonable. You just had to kill somebody that you had a friendly conversation with 40 seconds ago, and they ran at you with their skin off their face with a pair of scissors. It's like, holy fuck.
But yeah, either way, he goes to the bathroom to clean up, doesn't go well, kind of seizures out, has a bit of a moment and blacks out. And while his moments of blacking out, this is what I'm talking about with Powell kind of getting into his head and showing him the visions of the void.
These are cool.
Right. Yes. It's very cerebral. It's really artistic, and I really love it. Kind of reminds me of Fallout and the Badlands, Fallout 4. If you start going into the glowing sea, just this like brutal, desolate wasteland. Like I love Fallout 4. I'm a big fan. Been playing a lot lately, but yeah, we last bit of these shots, we get that ominous pyramid in the sky, and boom, he wakes up. He's on the floor. It looks like he might have had a seizure. If you're feeling dizzy, you shouldn't try to get up. He's just fighting it. I would have stayed the fuck down, but this guy's trying to get up. And amazingly, amazingly gets to his feet after, I assume having a seizure and fucking slamming his head into the floor. I would be like, nah, I'm not, I'm gonna stay down here for a little while. I think I'm okay. But when he wakes up, they say that there's already a state trooper here. I guess one of the other patients has called in what's happened. Dr. Powell wants to get him into a room. He's like, you've just had an extremely traumatic situation. You're stubborn just like your father. And, you should take this very seriously. Get a little bit more character development. Okay, so he knew, that he knew the officer's father. We get that these guys have been friends a long time. That really kind of sets things up for me. I'm like, okay, these guys are friends. Okay, I can see this. But yeah, I think that's the crazy thing about Powell, is that he's very, very likable, like right off the bat. Like, he's really likable. I loved him. I loved Dr. Powell. And when he, when he kind of quote unquote dies, in a few scenes, I was just like, no, like I loved Dr. Powell. I thought that he was great.
Until you stick with it.
Yeah, right. But I think that's what makes that so effective as well.
Yeah,
that like every I know this has been said 1,000 times. I'm going to say it 1,001. Every villain is the hero of their own story. He totally believes he's a hero.
Let's say that again. Every good villain, is a hero of their own story. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm taking a sip of coffee out of my Watchmen mug here.
Nice.
No. But yeah, every good villain is the hero of their own story. We see that with so many characters. And speaking of Watchmen, Asmodeus from Watchmen, one of my favorite stories. But yeah, I just that's what makes his fall to that just seem so much. It hurts so much more to see what his motivations are and see he's kind of like the ringleader behind this, but. Either way, as Daniel gets up, we're introduced to the state trooper, just simply called Mitchell. Just call him Officer Mitchell for now. But this guy's a fucking ball breaker, like right off the bat. And he's just giving him the situation. He was dead when I showed up. She had a pair of scissors. I had to shoot her. Blah blah blah. But this guy is. This guy is such a fucking asshole. I just love that, what would your dad say if he saw this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, the guy just had a woman bum rush at him and he shot her. Like, what the fuck did he do wrong? I couldn't believe that, man. This state trooper's a fucking asshole. I hate this character, but I'm glad to see him get killed. Fuck him, dude. But he does give us a little bit of information on James. He says, he's got a long list of drug-related charges. He ran away from a bloodbath about 20 miles away from here. But yeah, he takes Carter's handgun, which I guess is just safety precaution. But he kind of steps up. He's kind of in charge now. Who else here? We need to start taking account for what's going on. She gives him the lowdown, just like we gave you guys. Pal and Kim and Ben and Maggie. And already, maybe 15 minutes into this movie. About 20 minutes, and we've already lost. 2 people right off the bat in this hospital.
Yeah, body count's already pretty high.
Yeah, right. Two birds with one stone. Getting stoned with 2 birds or whatever.
Getting stoned with 2 birds. Wow.
I say that shit all the time and nobody ever catches it, dude. I'll be at work. I'm like, yeah,
that's some dank shit.
But yeah, Officer Carter asked him. He's like, man, can I go call this in? At least let me call this in and do something. Be proactive in some measure. But yeah, the phones are out, and I think, okay, cool. We've got a little bit more mystery. Why the fuck are the phones out? What's going on? The maybe the radios were out, but I mean, why why are the phones out? That's crazy. And of course we get him going, I'm gonna go try
That's
the car.
some scary shit, man. The phones being out.
Yes. But yeah, I love this is one of my favorite scenes coming up. With Carter going out to the car trying to radio in the
hooded figure.
Yes, dude, just right in front of his car. Because it's not there at first. Obviously, he gets out, tries radio in the car doesn't work. But what I love is he sees the guy in front of him, and he opens up the door and sticks his head out, and he's like, hey. He's like, hi.
dude, the way he's just kind of standing there, it's so fucking creepy.
It's such good framing, like the way where they have him in the angle to everything. Yeah. Like he's not dead center, he's just a little bit off to the right. I'm like, it grosses me out. But yeah, obviously Carter, what the fuck are you doing here? The guy's not responding to him. It's such a great shot of all that field behind him. But yeah, this is I think this is where we get our first blow of the horn. We hear this big horn being played, and they don't know where it's coming from. But yeah, this guy just charges Officer Carter, and of course he just gave his gun to the other cop 20 seconds ago.
See, I would have been like, oh, the horn. I would have thought the horn was part of the score, but what takes it out of that is him reacting to it. So it's really good. It's a nice little touch, because I honestly would have thought that it's part of the score. So
right. But yeah, he gets bum rushed. I can't help but look at these guys and just think they're Ku Klux Klan. Like, I can't help it. Guys in white sheets. It's like. Yeah. But yeah, he bum rushes him, gets that knife just kind of right into his shoulder. But he manages to get him off of him, and as he gets up and runs back in the hospital, there's dozens of them. They're surrounded. There's just a bunch of these guys out there.
He's as he's struggling to get him off, there's like a shot from the back. It's such a weird shot, and like he's got a nice ass. I don't swing that way, but you have a nice ass. That white sheet.
He must work out.
He must.
But yeah, we get a lot of things as soon as Carter gets back into the hospital. He collapses, bleeding a lot. A lot of blood, even for me. I was like, that's a lot of blood even for me. But they're trying to put pressure on his wound, and while that's going on, we've got Beverly having this total fucking the most John Carpenter thing in this movie is those legs coming out of her mouth and all these tentacles just going everywhere, and I was like, fuck that and a pile of eggs. Like, fuck that, dude.
that was that's the first time you kind of get the John Carpenter-esque part of it, and it literally looks like The Thing.
It totally does, dude.
It literally, like here, it's like really The Thing. But yeah, the sound of it, dude. Oh god damn,
dude, all of it. I mean, it is absolutely just. I mean, it's like The Thing, but it's also its own little thing a little bit. But so much of it is totally The Thing.
Its own little thing.
Yeah, ha 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 ha. Thanks, Dad. But yeah, we've got this whole, we're kind of now we're taking stock. Our Officer Carter's back awake. They see that all these people are surrounding the hospital. Where the fuck do they come from? What's that horn? Like, what's going on? And then we get James screaming in the other room. And this guy's great. The guy who plays James is really good. He plays terrified really, really, really well here. And I thought he was like, he is reacting exactly the way I would be reacting if they come in the room and they've handcuffed him to the bed, and there's this fucking behemoth on the other side of the bed. And they do really, really well with blocking here, with making sure that we don't see too much of the creature, because there's probably a team of guys on the other side of that bed working that shit. But what I love is that Carter's the one, he busts, gets him out of the handcuffs, throws him out into the hallway, and Mitchell the whole time is just like, Like he's just frozen, man, and has
Yeah.
no idea what to do. And there's Carter kind of redeeming himself, and getting everybody out into the hallway and kind of just getting them out of the room. But and not to miss this either, our boy James, Junkie James, as we want to call him. In the aftermath of this whole thing, they shut the door and they're both staring into the room. He reaches over and grabs a scalpel, which will definitely be important later. So now he's armed. But yeah, shit is really starting to pop off. James gets the scalpel. The Beverly monster is starting to turn. The father and son show up with the rifle and the axe.
Oh, yeah. Everything just escalates here.
Dude, yes. Mitchell pulls his gun on the father and son. James tapes Maggie hostage and holds a knife, holds that scalpel to her throat. Like, dude, we're just like, ba-bum, 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 ba-bum.
Yeah.
Like, your heart, you can feel it in these scenes, like, just picking up so fast. But yeah, we've got we've got Dr. Powell in the middle of this trying to help. He's like, listen, just give me the knife and this will all be over. Talking to James, he's got that scalpel to Maggie's throat. This isn't going to help you. Basically, this is what Powell wants, really. I mean, you don't think about it till later, but this is really what he wants. And James just digs that scalpel right into his jugular, and which is really hard for me. I have a problem with like jugular and gut stuff, and it's just I get queasy just thinking about that kind of stuff. But basically, and as all this is going on, we've got the Beverly monster kind of in the background, getting revving up and getting closer. But the father and son are there, obviously for James, and right when James, Ben basically disarms him. He's able to get, as soon as he thrusts that hand out, he grabs a hold and gives him the old 1-2, which is great. But as that's happening, this monster reaches in, the Beverly monster reaches in and pulls Mitchell away, and Mitchell's just absolutely mortified. For someone who was such an asshole 30 seconds ago, he's really a big fat pussy, and I fucking hate that guy. Like, I hate his character. Like, there's no reason for you to be that much of an asshole. There's just not, man. And I work in a restaurant. I know people and work with people who really are like that, but I still don't even like seeing that in movies.
He reminds me of that Harry Potter guy from fucking Shaun of the Dead.
Oh my God, yeah. Well,
like you can't wait to see him die.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna start a list of people we just really want to see die in movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got one of the way more brutal scenes when Carter comes up and he approaches and there's Beverly Marshall just running those tentacles through Mitchell's eyes. I was like, holy shit! And he's still alive. You can hear him kind of like, I was like, oh Jesus Christ. But a great use of the lighting here. The lighting is kind of, it's got a lot of strobe effect, and good use of the lighting with the practical effects. We see just enough. We don't need to see this thing under a microscope, and it's great. They do a really good job. Do you watch Rick and Morty at all?
I do. I'm working through season 2 right now, so.
Okay, cool. I've only watched the first 2 seasons, but there's an episode where they kind of Cronenberg everybody and turn them into these horrible monsters and stuff.
The creatures,
this is it. Like, this is totally it. This is like exactly what those things are. Just these like
the Fly kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes, body horror shit to the extreme. But basically, the father and son go to work on this fucking monster because it smacks the fuck out of Carter and knocks him out. But it's crazy, that head starts to come out of its back and they just blow it off with a sniper rifle. I was like, good God, Lord. Man.
Yeah, and with a sniper as well, right? Like, you got to be pretty fucking good shot under some crazy circumstances because, like, you're just, like, stressing. Your heart rate must be, like, 200.
Yeah, and the light, you can't see shit. It's like a fucking rave in there. Like, it's just so many lights going on. But what I love is that it seems like as it starts to take over Mitchell down below, like they chop his head off, like it's like a virus. They're like, dude, we don't want, they have to kill him so it doesn't spread to him, which is crazy. But yeah, they kill the monster, they kill Mitchell. We get a cut back and they're putting that sheet over Dr. Powell. But and I love they've taken James and handcuffed him to a rail on the wall. He's telling everybody to get into the office. But yeah, we get this confrontation between Allison and Daniel and the father and son. He wants to know, why he's here. I want him, talking about James. Basically they're here to kill James. we can, let's, but of course Daniel's like, dude, let's just get the fuck out of here and settle our personal difference. And he just knocks him the fuck out with that axe handle, puts his boot right on his throat. And, the son, is, you can tell this guy, the character of the son is great. Never says a word, but I just love, his facial stuff.
His facial
is
acting,
really
yeah,
good.
it's really good, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really hard to pronounce his name. Mick Byskov. I think he's Russian. Mikbyskov. Mick.
Oh boy,
Mick,
Putin's
yeah.
already planning shit into our movies. That fucker.
But Mick Byskov, I guess is his name. But yeah, we get this altercation between them. The father wants to just kill these people. The son is hesitant. Dude, don't do this. Blah blah. And we get a little bit of their backstory here. We see the father. Do you really want to go through all this again? Like, oh shit, like what happened with these guys? Have they trusted people before? Like, there's a lot of questions that don't get answered about this movie, but they're not very important ones, and I think that's fine. But the father proposes, we could burn what's left of the place, take them all with it, and this guy's so savage, the guy that plays the dad.
Yeah.
He's great. He's definitely one of my favorite characters in this. They're saying we need to get someplace safe. He's like, are you fucking kidding? Have you looked outside lately? There's nowhere to go. You can hear those horns for miles.
See, I think for me, a couple of problems that this movie falls into all come back to. Did you ever watch The Walking Dead?
I watched like the first season.
Yeah, it's okay. I stuck with it just until probably like start of season 3, and then I just gave up because it kept falling into this trap of like, I think I've explained it on the podcast before actually, just like how some really tropey sort of like survival stuff, like. I'm gonna go outside. Oh, don't go outside. It's too dangerous. Oh, and then they get into like a whole argument and shit like that. I got over that, and I think this movie just around this part kind of falls into that a little bit, and I can't help but roll my eyes whenever that happens.
Yeah, it's kind of with any horror movie, especially something that's a throwback to the '80s. It's like you're gonna have something like that, but
like bickering and bantering and shit.
Right. But I love, Aaron's just trying to get, or not Aaron. That's the actor's name. Officer Carter's
Daniel,
trying to get. Yeah. Thank you. I keep wanting to say Aaron Carter, like the pop star.
Like the pop star, the one who's probably not still alive right now. Where the fuck is that guy?
Dude, I saw something with him not too long ago, and he is totally fucked up on drugs and shit now. I mean,
probably.
Everybody's heard the same. I mean, it's just like the Coreys, same thing.
Yeah.
But I love this kind of bickering between Daniel and Allison and the father and son. I actually love it because he's like, well, I mean, who are they? He's like, I don't know. Go out there and ask them. He's like, I don't fucking know. The dad is so great. The father's really great. But we all go into the bit of a conference room in the office, and they're all sitting in there. Maggie's having some kind of contractions or having some problem with her baby, and the dad lights up a cigarette right in front of her. and of course, Allison being a nurse, she's like, "Will you please put that out?" And he's like, "What? This? Like the cigarette? Like, oh, what's the matter with this?" Like he does not give a fuck, dude. He's savage.
No fucks given, man. No fucks given.
Right, and of course everyone's like, we need to leave, what? And you're going to make your way out of there? And I love that, who's going to stop it? The grandpa, the teenage slut, and Allison just pops him in the face. I love that. That's great. She doesn't take any shit, especially from this fucking guy. She didn't know him from any Tom, Dick, or Harry. Why the fuck is this guy, why is this guy like this? But she pops him in the face, he's, come on then! They have a really, really good exchange right here. But yeah, we're just, I love, this is probably the funniest line of the entire movie is, Kim, the nurse, is pacing back and forth in the background, and she's like, oh my God, we're gonna die. And the dad goes, no, we're not gonna die. You're gonna die. I'm not gonna die. I fucking love that line,
it's good
man.
Shit.
It's great.
It's good shit, yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna let that happen to me. But yeah, we basically get this scene between Carter and the father and son. He's like, listen, I don't have much, but, I have a shotgun on my patrol car. You have a gun with no bullets. And we have a couple of fucking fire axes. So, if we get out there, we can go get a gun. And the dad's like, that's great. If we go out there, it's my fucking gun. I don't care, blah, blah, blah. Um, but now this is great because we kind of see the power of the void. We see that this thing can alter reality. It's taken, or I personally tend to think that because obviously he's got the keys on him. How else could they? I guess they could hotwire his car and move it over to the back. I don't know. I prefer to like the idea that somehow it's pulled. It's basically moved this car. They, as soon as they hear that they're going out there for it, they move it farther out. Like I personally believe it has a reality kind of bending aspect because
Okay, yeah.
we literally see it later on, like opening up walls and closing walls. It can change the shape of our world and stuff. That to me is just fucking terrifying and absolutely great. Um, but yeah, they.
It definitely lends to the otherworldly aspect of it.
Yes, dude, absolutely. But we get a cut back on Ben and Maggie. She's having a lot of problems with the baby. This is not really, really not looking good. And this really kills me too. How many. Maggie is so much of a big focal point of why the stakes are raised so high. This woman's about to have a baby. We need to do something. And it's like, dude, she is the enemy. Like, she is a big part of this. And I was like, why these people are here and why, Pal is doing what he's doing. She is a huge part of this. And to see our heroes waste our time on someone who just fucking, turns on them in the end. It's just so fucked. I hate that, but I think that's a twist that works well. I didn't see that coming. I
No.
never saw it coming when she turns, I think it's great. But
In terms of the actual storytelling, it's pretty fucking good. Like,
right.
In terms of that kind of stuff, it's really good.
Right. But basically, Allison has promised Daniel that, she needs to get Maggie medicine. Daniel's like, just wait till we come back. I can go down there with you. She doesn't wait. She takes off while they're going to get the shotgun. Now, of course, it's taking him forever to get the keys and to unlock it from the thing. But I love, they're packing in. They've got that bag. They're packing in flares. They're packing in all type of stuff. But that I guess there's really no. I don't want to sit there and call them Klansmen the whole time. But we get that first crazy shot.
They're Klansmen.
Yeah, they're Klansmen. Might as well be.
Fuck that.
But yeah, we see Allison. She's going to go get the medicine. Yeah, a great shot of her walking down the hallway, and then that fucking thing pops up behind her, and we kind of realize that it's, oh shit, that's Pal.
The thing.
It's got. Yeah. But, you can tell it's just got blood all over the face and the white coat and the white hair. And you're like, wait, is that Pal?
Yeah.
You're immediately like, what the fuck? But while that's going on, we see, we cut back to our guys at the squad car getting the shotgun. And I love that, as they're fighting and they're trying to, come on, we need to fucking go. Like, he hits the cruiser lights and there's oh my God, dude, the shot of them all standing there and the cruiser lights are on and it starts flashing that blue and red is fucking great. It's really, really great. And they all raise their knives in unison with like that right hand. I was like, holy shit. But we get one of them, up on the car. He raises a knife and winds up cutting, the hand of the son. But Carter, bang, blows him away with the shotgun, cocks the shotgun. I'm keeping the fucking shotgun. Like, and they run back into the hospital. But yeah, I think this, I think it's great because we get a lot of this, now we're even in a shittier situation than we were when you left because Allison's gone now. And he's like, why the fuck is Allison gone? Like, what the fuck is going on? And that's a really, really great, that's a really, again, our stakes are raised even higher now. Carter asked him, take care of the boy, take care of his hand, and he asked the father, will you please come with me? And I can't remember exactly what the line that he says to Carter is, but Carter is like, okay, listen, I consider it my personal private right to hate my fucking wife right now, so please kindly shut the fuck up. And I was like, that's great. He's really good.
I really love that outburst. It's awesome.
Yeah, but along the way they find the remains of Mitchell. Carter gets his handgun back, and they're basically just going back on the hunt for Allison, trying to figure out where she is and what's happened to her. But yeah, they basically find like find some rubbing alcohol, find some things like that, and they in their search for her, but they find this. This plastic bag laying on the floor, and just kind of fill it up, get a lot of the supplies that they need, and they're walking back. But what do you, the first time seeing this through, what did you think was going on? Did you think that it was going to take the twist that it was going to take later on? Like, did you expect any of this at all?
No. Like I said, man, I think this movie really does well with. I don't wanna say misleading or kind of like it does it hides its cards pretty well. Yeah, I totally at this point during my first and only watch, I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like I was scratching my head.
No, and I think that's great. I think it's great that it keeps you kind of on your toes, and it's not something that you see coming a lot. But yeah, they go into Dr. Powell's office, and this phone rings, and Daniel answers it, and it's Dr. Powell, and this is where we're kind of starting to get the reveal that Powell is Powell is our antagonist. He's talking to them. Basically my intentions are altruistic. Beverly didn't understand, and now she understands. And they find that box full of photographs, with all the hooded figures, and there's
creepy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like that. Oh my god! Like and the fact that they're just like, little old school Polaroids. I don't know what it is about that fucking creeps me out, dude. It's really creepy.
Yeah. Can you imagine if there was like a receipt for like, oh, here's all the Polaroid. This is what I paid for it. I don't know where I'm going with this bit. I'm just like picturing like a roll of like film, like how they used to have the roll of film instead of like Polaroids and shit, and like you had to get it like developed and shit like that. Imagine if that was in there.
Yeah, he's on the phone with him. He's like, hey, by the way, don't fuck up my pictures. That took weeks to get.
Yeah, like come on, man. This is I spent 8 hours in the dark room this morning.
Yeah, right. But yeah, he basically explains. He's like, he's saying, I lost my daughter and I lost my mind when it happened. And Daniel's like, tell me where the fuck she is. Tell me what you've done. Don't worry, Daniel. I'm gonna help her. And it's like, God, I'm gonna help all of you.
It's so creepy, man. Because he's like, do you really want to follow in your father's footsteps, Daniel? And it's just like, oh god damn, that's so creepy.
His voice is great, man. His voice is really, really Daniel.
Yeah, he's got a really good rapist voice.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. But we get this shot. I love the last shot is of the Polaroid of the wooden door with the black triangle. It's like, oh shit, that's okay. Now we're starting to really get a connection with this stuff. We're starting to understand that it's not a coincidence that they're all here. It wasn't like these people were randomly selected. I think that's great. It's all just character motivation and stuff like that. But yeah, Daniel comes back with all these medical supplies. He's like, please, I need you to help, take care of Maggie, stay here with Ben. She's like, I'm a fucking intern. Like, I don't even know what half of this shit is. What the fuck am I supposed to do? And I mean, I totally feel for her, man. She's stuck with a pregnant girl and a senior citizen, and she's a fucking intern. It's like, damn, dude, like that sucks. And trying to deliver a baby to a girl who, might die. Like, holy shit. Like, that's great. But I love he gives Ben the gun. Sorry, this is all I can do. I love that, that he at least leaves him with a weapon. He's not just trying to fucking, he's not just trying to like leave them all like heavy-handed or empty-handed. But they go out there and they interrogate James, and I love they fucking wake him up and they put that hammer on his finger. It's like, dude,
yeah,
that my palms are sweaty right now just thinking about that.
Oh my god, yeah, it's fucked up.
Oh, it's great. But he basically tells him, yeah, Powell was giving us drugs. He was having crazy sex orgies and religious stuff. So they're, we're getting the revelation now. Oh, you knew Powell from before this, blah, blah, blah. But I love that. He's like, okay, this guy's wasting my time. Take the finger. I fucking love that. I love it. And of course, this is when he starts kind of rattling off. But yeah, he tells them what they want to know. They let him go. They let him go from from being handcuffed on the wall. Um, And they talk about, yeah, we were there. There was a bunch of junkies. It was a whole goddamn mess. Blah blah blah. He watched us have sex. He called the place a church. But basically what you're saying is, he was a religious sex fiend. That's bullshit. My dad knew him for years. Blah blah blah. And he says there's a bunch of people dressed like this, holding up the picture of the cult members. They did killings. They did sacrifices. They made us watch. This is pretty much the most of exposition that we're gonna get the whole time.
This is some David Koresh, Branch Davidian shit. Like,
oh yeah, dude, absolutely. Yeah. And I love that. He's like, are they devil worshippers? He's like, no. He's like, this isn't the devil. He's like, whatever. He's like, I don't believe in the devil. I believe in whatever this is. I've seen it. I was like, holy shit, that's a great line. Like, oh god, that's fucking.
Talk
terrifying.
about something. Yeah, talk about something that goes beyond the devil, right? Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. But they get James up, still keeping him handcuffed. I'm like, maybe not a good idea, but okay. But yeah, and I love the last shot is of that empty sheet on the floor where Powell used to be. It's like, oh, that's a good shot, man. That's really good. These guys, I haven't really seen anything else that they've done, but I'm really happy with the shots that they've chosen. With the whole way this thing is set up. I felt like this movie was filmed by people who have had 10 or 20 years of experience doing this stuff. It felt really great. It didn't feel like I think this might be like their second or third film that they've done. I could be completely wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure this is just, and they're kind of a couple of younger guys. So I think this is one of the first things that they've really done, and just fucking knocked it out of the park. Just great. But yeah, we're going into the lower levels of the basement. Really great shots of Daniel walking around with the the mag light flashlight in the in his hand, and that hand's connected to the barrel, and he's got the shotgun. I love that kind of look. That always looks really cool. Seeing anybody with a shotgun, or with a flashlight underneath the shotgun, I've always thought that was cool ever since I was a little boy stuff. But But yeah, they're basically going into the lower levels of this hospital, which totally becomes fucking Silent Hill, by the way. Like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
what the fuck is this?
Right, and the only thing I can think is that I was like, okay, well, this is where the fire was. Like, like this is where everything got damaged and like gutted and stuff. But like, dude, there's no way. Like, I mean, at some point, obviously, we hit a point that goes beyond anything that is the hospital. But yeah, she's and Kim's navigating them. There's only one set of stairs that you can go down, and they're not in the spot where she says they should be. So right away, you're kind of like, okay, like what the fuck is going on? I think that it's basically they're losing radio static, and it's James. James is like, I've been here before. He's like, I know where this is, and I'm like, oh shit, the plot thickens. Like, why has James been here before? What the fuck is going on? And he's kind of leading him through it, and Kim saying, are you there? No, we're in some kind of sub-basement. And she's like, no, there's not a sub-basement. There's only one set of stairs. There can't be anything there. So we're seeing, like what I said earlier, we're seeing the void.
Like an extension of it, yeah.
Right. And, basically this whole time that, oh God, I'm totally blanking on Dr. Powell. The whole time that this has been going on with Dr. Powell, he's obviously been doing stuff out in the country, but obviously at this hospital as well. And this is not an extension of the hospital that should exist, basically. There's something very, very wrong here. But this is what I'm talking about with that reality bending shit. And I think that's great. Like, that feels very like, have you ever seen In the Mouth of Madness? The John Carpenter In the Mouth of Madness?
No.
Man, I just grew up watching it and fell in love with it, and I strongly suggest anybody go see that movie. I think it's fantastic. But it has a lot of like H.P. Lovecraft kind of reality bending kind of things. Anybody who loves books or like literary stuff would really dig it. It's got a lot of stuff to do with kind of this, and there's like a Stephen King kind of character, and the things that he's writing are coming to life and shit. That's really, really cool.
That's high praise, folks. Get on it, mate.
Yeah. But we get this scene with Allison. She's waking up on a table. She doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Obviously, she's been drugged some way. She can't move.
This is fucked.
Yeah, this is so fucked, man. But yeah, it's obviously Pal. Pal's like, there's no more pain. It's just, this is uncharted territory. And he just seeing picking off little pieces of flesh and putting it in a bowl. Um, but he's saying, this is a chance to study my own transformation. I understand you have questions. Let me ask you, all these years, have you ever wished to save someone beyond saving? That's really like God. Like, you can't help but feel kind of compassionate for him.
Yeah.
He lost a daughter. Like, he's doing this. He's not just some guy who wants to take over the world and destroy, blah blah blah. And he's not Doctor Doom. This is just a guy who, as someone who, as someone who's lost like a close family member, like I can tell you, there's times where you sit there and you do think like, kind of like Pet Cemetery. What would you do to bring that person back? Would it be worth all of this to bring that person back? And ultimately, no. Like, for myself, I'm like, no, it wouldn't be the same person again.
I'm thinking about Avengers now. When Thanos kills spoilers, Gamora to get the Soul Stone, and at the end it's like, did you do it? And he's like, yes. And she's like, what did it cost? And he's like, everything. Like, that kind of sacrifice for it. Like, I dig that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's Pal's. I mean, he makes sense. He's just saying that, it just crushed me, and I just couldn't come back. I just couldn't come back from it. But as that scene's going on, we're cutting down to Daniel and father and son, and James, and they're making their way down there, and that's where they're talking to James, and James is like, no, I've definitely been here before. He's like, I've definitely seen this place. And I think that's so great. That sets up things really well, and it's really terrifying. Like, why the fuck have you been down here before? Like, that to me is such a, like, I would have stopped him and be like, you tell me right now, or I'm blowing your head off, dude. Like, why the fuck have you been down here before?
Yeah.
The great shot of them lighting the flare, and he throws it over that triangle, and the whole thing lights up the room. We see that fucking crazy ass, like, triangle and stuff all over the floor.
Dude, this movie does visuals so well. Like, the visuals, like, for such a low budget movie, it feels very, very premium. Like, it feels like they used really expensive cameras.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, again, James, I've been here before. They made us watch them do things. The worst things I've ever seen. And the father comes back. Yeah, we found bodies everywhere in that house. In the basement. They had some on a table. What's he say? He's like, they had some on a table, like they were doing surgery down there. It's like, oh my god. He's like, basically half, these people that had been turned into these half things. He's like, no, there's worse than that. They're, it's like a nightmare. He's like, there are real things like this. He's like, that's not even the worst thing that, basically they're saying at this cottage house or this country house in the basement, they found some of these halfling things that Dr. Powell has been working on. But I think we get the single best shot of the movie right here is when they're panning out, and it's like Daniel with the shotgun, and we see the kid in the axe with the back, and James is handcuffed, and that camera is it's pulling out away from the door frame, so it's putting them in a frame, like real. I love that. I think it's great, but this movie does a really good job of juggling multiple things. We're dealing with Allison and Poole. We're dealing with the characters in the basement. We're dealing with Kim and Maggie and Ben. And Kim is just absolutely losing her shit, as I would be too. I mean, there's no way. Like, you can't just Google. Hey Google, or hey Siri, how do you do an emergency C-section? Like, I you know what? But it wouldn't surprise me in this day and age if somebody has done that. But I couldn't fucking do it. Like, there's no way. But yeah, I love this. This movie does a really good job of juggling multiple things, and I think that's fantastic. But basically, Kim gives Maggie something for the pain. She's starting to have contractions. She's probably not going to be able to deliver the baby naturally because I think they said that she's having some kind of side pains that indicates that if the baby comes naturally, it could kill her. So again, just boom, stakes through the fucking roof. Boom, we're cutting with them. We're cutting back to the guys in the basement. They're heading. We see that door from the beginning.
The door with the triangle. Yeah.
Dude, I love that. I think that's great. It's such good imagery, man. And the paint kind of running down the bottom of the door, like, holy shit.
It's pretty fucked up. Like, I would be hesitant as shit
Oh yeah. The first thing they say is he's like, "Oh great, I'm not going in there. You can fucking
Yeah.
shoot me." He's like, "I'm not going in there."
The dad's like, "This is a mistake."
Mm-hmm. But again, we get these flashbacks. We're in Carter's head. You know, we see him with Allison when she was pregnant. You know, we see him at the hospital. We see a shot of that big black pyramid again, the ominous pyramid, and then the last one, just a really, really quick shot is of Powell. You know, just basically all skin, all Freddy Krueger looking and shit, but it's just a silhouette of him. But a really, really good shot nonetheless. I think it's great. But of course, you know, it's a horror movie. They enter the fucking door. Wouldn't be a good movie if they didn't.
But, can you imagine if they just fucking left?
Yeah, they were just like, fuck it, you know.
No, we're good.
Yeah, she's basically my ex-wife, and he just leaves.
Yeah, we have no connection whatsoever anymore. So
yeah, but yeah, basically, you know, and then we cut back to Powell and Allison, and Powell saying, you know, of course, you know, there were setbacks, you know, I mean, even the fire that happened here in the hospital is my fault. You know, I have these bastard halfling things that he's tried doing this before, what he's doing tonight, and he's failed, and he has made fucking just, I mean, no better word to me than abominations. These absolute, just unthinkable monsters that he's made. And he says that, you see, they want to die, but I won't let them. It's like, oh, fuck, that is, oh, man, that is terrifying. Like, to know that these monsters aren't just like, you know, they're not running at you trying to eat you and kill you. They're like, dude, help me. But, you know, he won't let them die. Like, holy fuck.
It's basically torture at this point, right? Like, I mean...
Oh, yeah.
It's like when you go... Okay, I don't have any experience in this, but I do listen to, like, other podcasts, like Joe Rogan. He talks about, like, how when he goes hunting and stuff, you know, the thing is you have to shoot to kill, right? You don't want to maim this thing. You want to just put it out of its misery. But this is like the complete opposite. This guy's a fucking monster.
Right, absolutely. And we've got Pal, you know, Allison starts crying. Pal's like, listen, this is an end to the life-death cycle. He's like, you know, I want to end your pain. You know, do you know what happened to your son the night you died? The umbilical cord got wrapped around his neck. Simple as that. It's strange, isn't it? The very lifeline between you and your child, constricting his neck like a noose and made him struggle to get out tighter and tighter until finally, tighter and tighter until it finally couldn't struggle anymore. Nature's futility. I was like, God, man, like this guy, like, I mean, I hate to say it, fair point. Like, I mean, it's fucked up, but it is kind of like, dude, I see your point. Like, I actually, a long time ago, I had a family member that happened to, and she died. And like, that is so crazy to think about. The thing that should be nurturing you and giving you life is ultimately the thing that ends at it. It's just like, holy shit. Like, that is kind of mind-blowing when you stop to think about it. Like, you know, the fact that the purpose of it and how it should be and what ends up happening, like, holy fuck, that's crazy. But we get our first reveal of Pal. Pal turns around and all that skin's been removed off of his face. And if you're not mortified by that, wait till he pulls the sheet off of Allison and you see her stomach. Oh boy, bubbling,
dude, that's some good effects, man.
It is, man. To not be digital, like, I'm like, how the fuck are you doing that, dude? Like, but this, but basically, you know, we see her stomach bubbling like a pot. Like, there's just all of this stuff right underneath it trying to get out.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, just absolutely disgusting. But yeah, I love we get the four guys again down in the basement. I just love the imagery here. All of this weird, like, we've got a bunch of machinery, but then a bunch of like organic stuff at the same time. And the red flare is the only light that they have. And the smell is just making them gag. It's horrible. Like, I can only imagine what the fuck the smell of the place is like. Like, oh my God, all of these things down there, you know, like half dead, not showered at all, just disgusting fucking things. But we get this shot of these random feet hovering above the ground, and we hear a baby crying, and we find out basically later on, I believe that's the mother and the husband to the father and son.
Okay.
You know, and she's holding the baby that they lost. And we find out a little bit more about their motivations as well. why they're here, why the dad is so pissed off. He starts taking things out on James. I should have killed you when I had the chance. But right when he goes to do something to him, there she is, right in front of him, his dead wife. We need you with us, blah, blah, blah. And she's holding the dead baby. And this is the attempts that Powell makes to get into these people's heads. He's basically, I need you to kill someone, and then I'll kill you, and you can come back. And that's all he needs is for you to kill someone. Like, this is the scene. He's trying to turn them against each other. And as they start kind of fighting, I love the son picks up the shotgun, and all of those things kind of just start raising up. And that one is ramming its head on the spike, trying to kill itself. Like, fuck,
what
dude.
the fuck?
If anybody had any problems with the gore in this movie, go fuck yourself, because this is great. Like, this is so great. I think it's fantastic, and it's to think that I thought that maybe they were in the midst of like one or two of these crazy ass, scary things. I did not think that it was going to be something like there was like 10 or 12 or 15 of them around them. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, that is terrifying to just turn around and see that there were so many of them so close to you the whole time. But they all start raising up, they start firing with the shotgun, just these horrible fucking abominations. But again, we're doing a really good job. We're going to juggle back to Maggie and Kim and Ben, and she's starting to scream. She's obviously going into labor. The front entrance gets burst through. And that's a big thing. So basically, they're starting to come in, and this whole time they're down in the basement, the father gets distracted seeing the ghost of his dead wife, and she kind of pulls him away from the action. And that's just like, that's so great, especially with the father character. This guy has been such an asshole the whole time. But so he is the hero of his own story. Like, what made him this way? Has he always been this big of an asshole? Like, something obviously must have happened to drive him, to be the person that he is now. This very sarcastic. He's extremely sarcastic the whole time. The father character. What do you want to do? You want to go out there and fight those things? Well, why don't you go out there and fucking ask him? Like, but I love that about his character. But basically, we get as he walks off. We've got the son basically on his own. I think he shoots his way out and follows the father. But we get Agent Carter again. Officer Carter. I want that show back. But yeah, we get Officer Carter with James, and James tries to fucking choke him out. He throws the handcuffs, he jumps on him and tries to strangle him, and Carter's able to get out of it, and thankfully just in the nick of time, because we get one of the scariest fucking things, this goddamn like ventriloquist contortionist like monster, which totally is just a guy who can do that. Yeah, I was watching the special features. It's just some guy who can do that, and he's double jointed and pops. Shit. Dude, terrifying. It's very reminiscent of Pennywise coming out of the refrigerator in the new It movie. So much like that. But I mean, look at this movie, which obviously doesn't do that scene as well. It's obviously they can't do the things that they were able to do in It digitally. But look at the practical versus the digital. Like, it looks good in comparison. Like, there's like I looking at both of them side by side, I can remember the one from It really well. I was like, this still makes a run for its money. Like, even though it's practical and it's just a guy in a suit, it does really well. It does fantastic. But moving on, we get the revelation. Basically Kim is trying to perform the C-section. She can't. In the middle of her argument with Ben, Maggie slits Ben's throat. Cuts his throat out and leaves, and basically that's when you find out that she's a part of what's going on with Dr. Powell. And she gets up and leaves with these hooded, these Klansmen, basically these hooded guys. And she's, Kim is just running around like a chicken with her head cut off with that axe. I mean, the whole time I'm like, dude, I legitimately thought, I was like, dude, she's gonna slip and fall and chop her own head off. Like, she's gonna do something. Like, she's going to slip in something and the axe is gonna fall on her neck. I seriously thought that was going to happen. I was like, she's going to be a victim of like circumstance, like, because they don't want her. There's no motive for them to kill her. They don't care. They don't need her at all. That's why they just walk right past her. They don't give a fuck about her. but you can tell that this whole time she's just running like crazy. I totally thought she was going to wind up cutting her own head off, but she runs and she hides, and we've got we cut back to the son, and we see him walking down the hallway, and it starts turning into a suburban house, which is crazy. Really, really good imagery. We literally see the wall turn from that like Silent Hill shit to like wood paneling. It's so good.
It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, and we see the picture on the wall. That's when we kind of get the revelation that this is father and son, and that they were part of a family. And the son comes up on the father, just kind of standing there, and this is your fault. Talking to the son, it's like, oh man, like that's a tough blow. Hearing that, this is your fault. I wasn't there. You should have protected them. So basically, I'm not really sure what it is that killed the wife and the baby. I don't know if it's the members. Maybe these people were neighbors to Dr. Powell, and they ended up killing. I don't know how these guys got involved. It never really states. It's not really important. They are somehow wrapped up in this. Somehow these guys found them and killed parts of their family. And the father, this is Powell getting into the heads of them. He's trying to get the father to kill his own son, because if the father kills for Powell, he comes back. And luckily the son is able to snap him out. He pops that flare and gives him a little, scorch in the side, and it snaps the dad right out of it, and boom, they're right back in Silent Hill land.
Yep.
So great, and the son's got the shotgun on him. That's so good, and I just love that, because this is about the most emotion that we get out of this dad, and he's crying, he's saying, I'm sorry. I thought this was a great scene between these two guys. I thought it was really great. But yeah, we like this terrifying scene as well. After this, moving on, we cut to Kim in the vents, basically hiding from this guy just dragging the axe around, and I just it's really, really tension building, really great.
I love her just crying. I love the red, the blinds, and she's just like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's so cool, man. It's so you can feel her desperation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, yeah, she's really good. The whole time I was watching this, I was like, dude, she's great. And I was like, oh, well, she's probably the biggest name like in this movie, except for maybe Dr. Powell. I think I've seen him in a couple things before. But we cut back to Officer Carter. He walks in. And sees Allison laying on the table, and she, again, this is Dr. Powell fucking with them in the heads, changing the reality of stuff. Here he is thinking that, oh, she's fine and she's okay, and he's talking to her and she's crying, and I think it's his image of her, what she looked like when she was going to have their baby, originally, before she lost the son. He plays along like, oh wow, blah blah blah, and I think he's just so happy to see her. He doesn't even realize, wait, you're not pregnant. Like, none of it clicks for him. None of it really clicks.
It's just
clicks.
Too wrapped up.
Right, yeah. And of course he, kind of, embraces her for a minute, and you hear, she's like, Daniel, and then you hear, Daniel. I was like, oh, dude. And it pulls out, and the room has just gone dark, and she's a Lovecraftian tentacle monster now. Like, oh my God, so much shit running from her body. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, what in God's name is she now? Is she just some kind of like incubator? Like, is she just some kind of, just something that's going to breed these things? Like, what in God's name? But I love what Powell says to him. He's like, Daniel, do you know what I felt and what I saw from you the night your child died? It was relief. And it's like, oh shit. And I think that Powell's being honest. I really do. I think that I don't think this is him.
You don't think he's fucking with him?
No, I don't think so at all. I think that really, I really do believe that he's like, you were relieved when this happened. Like, because why would he lie about it? He doesn't need to fuck him in the head anymore. He doesn't. He ultimately wins. He has the upper hand the entire time, and he's really just waiting. Basically, I think a lot of horror movies fall into a trope of, well, I could kill you now, but we have an hour and 45 minutes left. so I've got to keep you alive. Sorry. But this horror movie does a good job of Pal has to wait for the baby to come, Maggie's baby. And the whole time we're investigating the basement and we're checking in on Pal and Allison, really the main plot of the huge epicenter of this table of things, the kind of centerpiece is really Maggie. And that's why it's so good when she kind of like turns on us, and she's creepy as fuck. But it's great when she turns because we're not expecting that at all. But basically, I don't think that Pal's fucking with him at all. I think that Daniel is totally relieved. I don't know what it is about his character. Like he's a nice enough guy, and yeah, he's a cop, but I believe it, man. I really do. Like I don't know what it is about him that I just don't think he ever maybe just didn't ever want to have a kid. And I just don't think there's any reason for Pal to lie to him. I just don't. But I love that, what have you done to her? I gave her what she wanted. She's a mother now. It's like, oh, God damn it. That is so fucking terrifying. But, Daniel does really kind of like the only sensible thing, and he picks up the axe and just starts swinging, and it's like, God, dude, I couldn't imagine how hard that must have been. And such a great shot right before he starts swinging. She's right in the middle of the frame, all of those tentacles and stuff coming from her. It looks like, Japanese porn. It just looks
It looks like what they're into over there.
Yeah, right. It looks like total tentacle porn and shit. But Daniel just starts swinging and just chops her up to bits. And yeah, that's just, God, that's gotta be so fucking brutal. It sucks. It's a hard scene to watch because, you're always I always kind of hope that.
Are you alright over there, Colin?
Yeah.
You need a hug?
Virtual hugs.
Hold on. I'm booking my ticket now to Nashville, and I'll just come over, give you a hug, and I'll fly right back.
Oh, okay. Oh, hello? Oh, that's you. Hello.
Colin, hey, man, there you go.
That'll happen someday, dude. That'll happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Daniel chops her to bits, and just right away, he's in this room with the triangle, and this is where our last moments are really going to take place. And Pal asks him, "What do you see?" "I see a monster that thinks he's God." And, Pal is just, I'm disappointed of all the things I've shown you and you still don't understand. And, it's just, now we're getting into our final play. We're getting into why we're here, what's going on. And such a great setup, man. Really minimalistic room. Just 4 bodies on gurneys with white sheets and just this triangle on the wall. It doesn't need much. It's great.
The triangle looks fucking cool, man.
Yeah, it does. It looks fantastic. But I love Pal. I spent my whole life resisting death, but now I understand. I must embrace it. I'll have my beautiful daughter back. I just need one final thing. And of course, they boom, turn around. There's a couple of these guys behind Daniel, and Maggie drives the knife right into his back. This guy's been through the ringer, man.
Oh yeah.
Like he's been fucking stabbed and twice and almost shot, and like he's anything if not resilient, But yeah, we see, Maggie's making her way up to this altar, if you want to call it that. And we get our first look at what I want to call almost like Super Saiyan Pal. Like he's gone he's gone like full level. And he's just badass looking dude. He's like a black skinned Freddy Krueger. That's the only way I can describe it. Just this blackness underneath him, and he's peeled all the skin off.
Freddy Krueger / Red Skull from Captain America. Yeah, he definitely. He looks fucked up. Like the effects here are absolutely top notch, and the makeup, I definitely commend the makeup. It looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, but we get a bit of a revelation here too. These people are here to witness my daughter's rebirth. You can be a part of this too, Daniel, but I need you to die for me like your father and your son died for me before you. And I was like, oh, so like Pal murdered his father and maybe had something to do with his son dying? Like maybe Pal somehow orchestrated that? I don't see how. I could see Pal murdering his father somehow. He said they were best friends for years. So maybe, Pal Carter's dad is a cop. He investigates Pal. Pal murders him. Simple as that. But I'm not sure with the son. He says your son died for me. I'm like, okay, did you orchestrate that somehow? Like that's the only thing that kind of left my head scratching.
Could be some sort of like sacrifice. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, but Maggie, total fucking like Stockholm syndrome kind of shit. She's just enamored with Dr. Powell. She's on her knees and he's embracing her. You've done well. Now watch. You will be my audience. And he pulls that fucking pushes that triangle back. That just looks incredible. The whole thing looks incredible. Watch the abyss open itself to me. I'm like, God damn, dude. Like that's so great. Anything void, abyss, like any kind of like ethereal plane like that you're just infinite cosmos.
Yeah.
It's just terrifying to me. But yeah.
And then we get the birth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love, he's just chanting all of this crazy shit, and Pal comes over, and she's basically, it's time to give birth. Puts that hand on her forehead, and Maggie, it sucks because I feel that Maggie is totally like, in her last moments alive, regretting all of this. She's like, oh no,
for sure.
like oh no, and from what and the special features of this, because when she falls down and that blood just all over her, she actually asked him, because it was the director, literally these guys were so hands-on, the directors are the ones throwing the blood and doing technical stuff, like they just didn't have the people to spare, and the director throws blood, and she asked him, she's like, just don't get any in my face, blah blah, throws a cup right in her fucking face, dude, like a huge foamy cup of fake blood, like right in her mouth. But this is definitely
Colin.
Yeah.
I got something. I got a little something for you. So, you know, after a night out, right? You wake up, you're hungover as shit, and then your stomach just starts feeling a little bad. So you go to the old shitter, and you just hurl one out. You just absolutely just push one out. That's what this thing looks like. Holy fucking shit!
Well, when you said hurl one out, I was like, okay, is he talking about up top or is he talking about downtown?
No,
I was like, okay, he's talking about downtown.
Sorry, hell. Yeah, I used hell in the wrong connotation, in the wrong sense there. But goddamn, man, this thing looks like a piece, like a good piece of shit, but shit nonetheless. Like the practical effects here, this is where they peak. This is where they like, holy fucking shit, man. I don't know how they did this. I don't know how many men in suits they have like controlling this thing, but Jesus.
Dude, it's two fucking guys. It's like two fucking guys in a suit.
I thought it would be, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like a donkey suit, kind of. You got one running the front legs and the other one's running the back. But I love this thing, and of course the father and the son shoot up and blow a chunk out of it. And
this thing looks like something straight out of Doom.
Yeah, dude, or like Gears of War. I was thinking like Gears of War, like Doom
Gears
kind
of War.
Thing.
The Locust, yeah.
Yes, but I love the thing starts walking and it crushes that one guy's head in.
The skull, yeah.
Oh, dude, the weight of this thing can be felt so much, but it starts dragging Maggie along behind it with her. I was like, holy fuck, this is brutal. But this is basically Pal's daughter. This is him saying that she's been reborn. Look at her, she's beautiful. And blah blah blah. But yeah, we've got Carter. He's still on the floor, and the father and son start engaging it and taking it into the other room. And they really put up a good fight. And it gets the father. It gets the father on the ground, but he puts that shotgun right to his face, and you think, hell yeah, dude, blow that thing's head off. Blows the mouth off, and just nothing but more tentacles come out and start just ripping through his chest and doing the same thing basically that it did to the state patrolman Mitchell. But the father, this is very believable. I don't think that there's really any redemption for the father. He's lost too much, and he can't. That's, I think, why he's such an asshole. He's so revenge driven, and he'll never get it. Like, he knows that he's like, man, I just, I there's no going back for me. I can't go back, to this. And he pours the lighter fluid all over him, lights himself on fire, and just grabs a hold of that monster, which I think is just great, and just sacrificed by fire, so hopefully anybody else might be able to make it out. The son opens up the ventilation shaft and just kind of starts crawling away, and he's the one who throws the flare onto the dad, and the dad's like, do it, and he hesitates and finally lights his own father on fire. Like, holy shit, this guy's had to watch this. Now I really feel for the son in this, his mom, his sister, his dad, like fucking all of them to this shit, like, god damn. But some great shots of, Carter looking at the axe, about to come up on Pal. We got the son running away from the monster, and this thing is chasing him. And I love Pal. I see everything before me, and it's beautiful. Talking about this just abyss and just like this abomination that's going on. But I love as we're getting these flashes of the void, we're kind of it gets interrupted by Daniel putting that axe right into his shoulder, and it's just futile, man. What the fuck are you doing? Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Like
this guy's basically a god. He's more powerful than a god. Like, he's beyond the god and the devil. And what you think? I mean, look, I guess he's just at that point of desperation, man. Like, he's like, I'm gonna bury this axe in this guy's fucking shoulder blade. And see how I go.
Yeah, and one of my absolute favorite shots is him having Daniel by the neck, and he's holding him, and we see the axe handle is like right in front of our faces. But what's great, what I really love in a lot of cinema is having something up really close and then something really far away in the background, and that's the sun or whatever this light is becoming behind him over his shoulder. So we've got the handle of the axe like right in our faces, and then way over behind his shoulder we've got this light coming through.
It's using the foreground, the foreground, the midground, and the background really well. It's really good.
Yes, and he's he's choking Daniel. I gave Allison to you. He's like, I can give her back. And we got some shots of Daniel, kind of having flashbacks with her and just remembering things as they used to be. But yeah, I love this exchange between all you have to do is let go and you can be together. I think this is his whole thing of like, kill for me, I'll kill you, and both of you can come back. And Daniel kind of starts considering it, and he even says, that's a good boy. This isn't the end. And he's kind of seems that he's given in, and Daniel's like, no, fuck that. Yes, it is. And he grabs him and just pushes him through the void, which is great. I love that. Just defiant until the end, really. But that's kind of, not really our wrap up. We get a little bit more left, but it is our final confrontation between these two characters. And the whole void just disappears. This whole triangle disappears. But we do get the last bit of any kind of void monster or anything chasing the sun through these halls that are slowly collapsing in. Really, 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 really reminiscent of Hellraiser. I don't know if you've ever seen the first Hellraiser. I hate to say it. This is almost I'm gonna say it. It's a ripoff. It's this ending. This ending is exactly how Hellraiser ends. It's
a little bit before my time. I didn't really get a chance to see Hellraiser, so I have heard good things. But yeah. So it's straight to video sequels and shit like that, but not dealing with those.
The first two are pretty good, but it's an exact ripoff of the ending. But I do love this. It's a team of like 20 people working those walls. Like they had to have everybody, like even the actors who weren't in any scenes, they're like, dude, get behind the wall and start pushing. Like, we have to have as many people as we can do it. And it's just great. They crowdfunded $80,000 for this. I'm not sure how much they had other financial backers. I'm really not sure of how much else they spent on it. I don't really know. But either way, these walls come in and crush the monster that is Sarah, Pal's daughter, crush her, and he ends up escaping. And he makes his way back to the office and finds that member, that hooded figure on the floor with his head just completely smashed in. And there's Kim, still got her surgical gloves on, just holding that axe. And she plays just batshit terrified so well. She does such a good job. And they embrace each other. And these are our only two survivors. These are not the people I thought were going to survive. They're really, really, really not who I thought was going to survive. And I think this movie does a good job of taking your preconceived notions of what you think, how this horror movie is going to play out. Oh, Daniel and Allison will win, and they'll defeat old mean Dr. Powell, and that'll be the end of it, and blah blah blah. And it's like, nope, that's not going to happen at all. Like, Powell basically wins. It's kind of this like Empire Strikes Back kind of feel. All your heroes are frozen in carbonite or dead, but everybody is dead except for the son and Kim. And that's basically it. They embrace. We get a few shots outside the hospital. It's starting to turn a little lighter outside. It's dawn, and boom, cut to black, cut right back up, and here we are in the void. The only time, our only shots of us like really in the void,
Inside the void, yeah.
But I don't know what the fuck is going on. These like pillars or like spires, these huge things, these monoliths just like sticking up out of the ground.
This has to be like a different dimension or something, man. Like it's something so otherworldly that we can't even like fathom it, Like we can't even begin to grasp what it is.
Yeah, right. I think that's really the point of the whole movie. We're not supposed to know what the void is. We just know that it's just this cosmic dread. And it doesn't matter what it is. It is everything and nothing at the same time. And I think that's just great. But we get our last shot. We do get a little bit of optimism. We've got Daniel and Allison and they're back together somehow.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
Do you think this is kind of looking into it pretty far, but the void, I mean, they're always seeing this massive pyramid, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think there's like a little bit of Egyptian thing going on there? Like the Egyptians, looked into something crazy back then to build those massive fucking things.
That's pretty fucking interesting. I mean, I would say that it makes sense. The Egyptians were pretty advanced, like civilization. It could be, one of them stumbled across this thing because they worship multiple gods, and there's no telling what they found along the way. Yeah. But yeah, I think that it's great. It's a great way to end it. Daniel and Allison just clasp hands, and we get our final shot of this huge pyramid, and that's really the end of it, and boom, that's the void.
That's the void.
Yeah, and I think I think it's a really good movie. I don't own it. I've rented it several times on Amazon before it was on Netflix because I like to continue these kind of movies that make this. I want to be able to continuously support these guys, and even when it's not on Netflix, I'll probably still go and rent it a couple more times just so they keep getting money for it. Like I just it's great. I think it's really great. You got to put your money where your mouth is, and as a guy who loves movies and has tried writing movies and shot short films before, you know how hard it is for people who are doing music or film or acting or directing and they're struggling in the industry. It's like, dude, support those people. And these guys did a fucking 100%. They did such a great job, went outside the industry and did it to themselves. And I think it's great. But yeah, you guys know how I feel about it. Zoheb, you got any closing remarks or anything?
Dude, you know what? Just talking about it now. I think it really helped to kind of watch it again and talk about it because, like you said, there are revelations and things like that. So when a movie has revelations like this, man, so many twists and turns, it's always good to watch it again. And I really regret not watching it again before the podcast. But yeah, man. Look, I'm actually a bit higher on it now than my initial thoughts because
I've sold it.
He's got me. But no, don't worry, guys. There will be an on-air fight coming up soon. We'll throw down on one of these days on one of our episodes. Don't worry. But yeah, man. No, look, it's a decent flick. It's definitely eerie. It's very depressing. Don't watch this if you're thinking about suicide or some shit. Because this is next level depressing. But look, I'll reiterate again. One of the best things about this movie, besides the practical effects, is the tone. The way they set the tone. It's just so fucking masterful, man, with the music. Oh my god, and the visuals are incredible. For such a low budget movie, for something that was crowdfunded, they did so well with the audio and technical with the audio and visual stuff. It was really good. But yeah, man, look, if I was to give this a score out of 10, I'd give it maybe like a 7 or a 7.5. It's definitely positive. It's definitely pretty good. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, same here. I would honestly, I personally give it like a 9 out of 10. I know that's really high, but, just because I think it's that good doesn't really mean it's that good. There's a difference between saying what is your favorite movie and what do you think is the best movie of all time.
Obviously our thoughts are subjective, right? Right. They're our thoughts, so...
Right, and absolutely, and I hate people that get wrapped up too much into, because you're a really positive guy. You do really really good reviews, and that's what kind of made me reach out to want to do this podcast with you. And I think it's great that you are enthusiastic about these movies, and it's not because like I said, even though this isn't your thing, this isn't really your kind of drink. This isn't really your kind of movie. But you can still appreciate it. It's like it like Dread. I like Dread. It's okay. I own it. But watching it and rewatching it, I was like, this actually is a little bit better than I remember it, and I can give this a fair shot. And even if a movie isn't that good, you can give it a fair shot by saying, even if a movie got made and it's okay, it's still a fucking small miracle that it even gets made. But
right, exactly. Even the worst things out there have some kind of decent things to them, and even if they don't have decent things to them, you can sort of put yourself in the shoes of the director or the filmmaker, and you can try and like figure out what they were trying to achieve. And when you look at it from that standpoint, then the movie instantly becomes a little more likable.
Right, absolutely. One person I know that definitely likes this movie is Christopher Schrader from Hey, Do You Remember? I just wanted to throw this out there. I'm really, really, really excited. They've decided to take things onto Patreon. For guys of you who don't know, please, please, please check out another one of our favorite podcasts, right up there with our boys from LSG. Hey, Do You Remember? These are really the two podcasts that wanted me, talking about film and really inspired me to do it. Really got me into podcasting. But they've decided to set up some monthly donations through Patreon. They have a few different levels you can sign on with. I've reached out to them before and be like, dude, please, is there any way I can support the show? I'm so excited that they finally started doing that. I signed up today. I know Zoheb will soon, but it's like, dude, this is so exciting for me because I've always wanted to see that show go to that level, and I'm really, really, really happy to hear it. Chris is such a nice guy. I've talked to him several times. He's been so nice. Has no fucking idea who I am, but I'm like, hey, which microphone do I use? And he's so nice.
Why did you sound like George Lucas?
Yeah, right. Why did you sound like Kermit the Frog, fucking George Lucas? But he's so nice and has a lot of insights and stuff, and I'm really happy to hear about that. So please go check out some of our favorite podcasts. The guys at LSU Media, all of their shit. Everything with Hey, Do You Remember? They're doing fantastic work, and I'm really, really excited. I had to throw that in there because I know Chris likes The Void, so shout out to Chris, Don, and Carlos. I hope you guys do great in your ventures.
And Kristen.
And Kristen, and just a Sunnyvale Stacks. God, I'm drawing a blank. That's terrible.
We'll go back to you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm an asshole. But yeah, I'm. Oh, Mike. Sorry, Mike. Yes. Redeem yourself. Really happy to hear those guys are going to be doing that. If you want to reach out to us, you can always find us at midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. You can find us at most of your podcasting apps. A lot of our feedback and response has been through the podcasting app with iOS. But you can also find us at Libsyn. There's always
Spotify.
Our Facebook page. Yeah, Spotify. We're on Spotify now, so this is fame, bro.
It's a thing. On top of that, I was just going to say, don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes, because that'll be really, really cool. We like to hear people say nice things about us.
Or bad things.
We're narcissistic in that way, so...
Yeah, right, yeah. Of course, there's Facebook with Midnight Double Feature. We've got the after party that's connected to that. After parties, everybody's invited. Everybody can always come and be a part of that. It's where we post all of our stupid and funny shit. Our Instagram seems to be taking off, kind of. I know you're a lot more hands-on with our Instagram, but it's getting a lot more active, and it's really, really cool. I love Instagram.
Yeah, what I do is I whatever posters or things like that, or official images of movies that come out, I post them on there. I also post them to the after party as well. So been getting some really good feedback about that shit. I literally just posted some new official stills from Halloween, the new Halloween movie that's coming out. Pretty keen for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw where you posted about the Bumblebee movie from Transformers. Fuck that shit. I do not want to see a movie about fucking Bumblebee. Like, is that how much more can that tit be fucking milked, dude? Like, I can't. No, this is a conversation for another day. But either way,
it's a new director. It's a new director.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. I might check it out. But either way,
See?
thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Thanks, guys.
Zoheb, you got anything else you want to say?
Not really, guys. Look, thanks so much for joining us. It's been such a ride. We were really keen to cover this movie. Actually, like I said, we've had a few technical hiccups, but we wanted to get this out there. We've got a few other things lined up. In terms of our schedule, like I said, the last couple episodes over the next couple of weeks, it's a bit rocky, but we'll be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please stay tuned, rate and review us on iTunes, and we hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.